Hello and good evening. Welcome to Achieve Transform, your resource for success inspirational program, where you get to meet inspiring men, women, owned business from across the world. My name is Marlene Morris, and I am your host. And with me, we have Phil Bohlender, who is the CEO and founder of Seed and Leads, who is joining me today. Hi, Phil. Hello. Finally,
Hi,
you're here.
good evening. How are you?
Evening. I'm fine, thank you. Welcome to Inspirational Program. And
Thank
today we're going to be having some exciting time. And I'm just welcoming you as my guest today. And this is Phil, CEO and founder of Seed and Leads. And he's also a coach, consultant, and a speaker. And he's all the way in the US. And I will be interviewing him today. And it will be fun. And I hope we'll be getting some great nuggets and, be inspired and educated by you. So thank you for joining me. And thank you for taking the time out of your
you.
busy schedule to be here today.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to join you, and I'm very excited to have this conversation with you. So thank you very much to you.
So how is it going so far? How was your day today? I know it's not the best place to discuss everything, but yes, it could be brief.
It's a very interesting day. It starts off where I think I'm going to do certain things, and then other things come up. And so I'm really glad to be here with you because we planned this, and I knew this was going to happen.
Definitely. And we're here, and I'm so excited because it's going
Yes.
to be some great stuff happening for the future. But let me just start off with just knowing a little bit about you, just telling the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you have been up to.
Okay, thank you. So it's always easy for me to start with. I was in the corporate world
Mhm.
for 35 years. I no longer say corporate America because I actually worked in 4 continents. So I worked in the corporate world for 35 years for 7 different companies in 2 different industries. That's manufacturing and service.
Mhm.
So during those 35 years, I was fortunate to work in every role from what we call a team leader, which is the entry-level leadership role, all the way through to a president of a company for 5 years, and that was a global company. So over 35 years, I spent a lot of time developing myself and growing myself as a leader because I felt very responsible to be the best leader I could be. And what happened was, in doing that, I also became known for developing others. So
Wow.
at the end of 35 years, I'm now launching a new career that's all focused on supporting others around leadership and business.
Brilliant. So, you talk about 35 years of experience. That sounds so, deep, really, having all of that to your credibility and stuff like that. You talk about, being in the corporate world. Tell me a little bit about you growing up. What were you like as a little boy? What subjects did you like at school?
That's really good. I like to go back to that time in my life as well because it's a very interesting time for me to think back on
Mhm.
and realize how much of what I did in my 35 years was influenced by me being this little boy with big dreams.
Brilliant.
So my favorite story around this is I was a very well-behaved child. My mother even validates that to today. She says, I was very well-behaved, easy to get along with. You could take me into any environment and I was easy to adapt to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, quick story I'll tell you about my childhood is that I always liked classes that were around geography and languages and anything
Mm-hmm.
to do with the world. So, sociology, psychology. And so, what happened was when I was about 12 years of age, there was a market that my mom would go to that next door they opened a travel agency. And
Yeah.
so, what happened was that travel agency became my place to go to get brochures so that I could see all places in the world. And
Wow.
at 12 years of age, I had, stacks and stacks of brochures from all the different places in the world. And I kept dreaming and thinking of these places and visiting them someday. So when I became an adult, I started traveling on every way I could, on miles from airlines, from free hotel rooms to saving my
Wow.
money. And so it's been very interesting to look at my childhood and say, okay, I was an adventurous kid. I was a well-behaved kid. I enjoyed different environments and different foods and different things. And then to be able to dream about places in the world that I visited. I think the other day I may have been to as many as 20 countries just for business, and then
Wow.
maybe another 40 or 45 countries for vacation and holiday.
Brilliant. That sounds good. And I believe what you're saying about well-behaved, because you're such a pleasant person, easy to talk to, and I can vouch for that. And it's so interesting you mentioned that, because about being at 12 and getting those brochures and visualizing it and it coming to pass. And that's powerful, because visualization, as we as coaches, one of the things that we encourage people to do, imagine it happening before it happens, because
Yes.
it can happen once you believe and look at it and stuff like that. So that's really, really powerful. And I think that a lot of people sometimes they find it difficult to visualize things and to make it come to reality. So I'm hoping that somebody will hear what you're saying and try to apply that to what they're doing today, especially people in business. I think it's a hard journey for a lot of us. And so this would be helpful. So I know that everybody is inspired by someone. And who are you inspired by?
Well, it's interesting. I mentioned earlier, growing up as a kid, my mom said really good things about me. So I would say to you that my mom is the number one person who inspired me. My mom, in 1970, became a single parent when my parents were divorced. And she raised my three sisters and me at a time when it was very difficult for a woman to be single in the United States, much less be divorced. There was a stigma attached to it. So I watched my mother be really strong. I watched her rely on her intuition. I watched her rely on this perseverance and moving forward spirit that she had. And so my mom early on was somebody that I really, really highly regarded. And she very much inspired me and motivated me to be the person I am today. And what's fun about it, Marlene, is that the other day I was on Facebook Live, and I have a tendency to say when I'm talking that, I'm always on my best behavior because I act as if my mom is watching me. And my mom came on the Facebook Live.
Oh my Lord. That's interesting. That's a good one.
I didn't know she knew the button, but she knew the button. I called her afterwards and I said, I saw you come on the Facebook Live. Yes, it said you were there, and I pushed the button and then I saw you. So I said, so was I on my best behavior? She said, you were.
Oh,
so
that's a good thing.
Right? My mother. And then I've been very fortunate to work with two business coaches for about 20 years of the 35 years. And I traveled internationally with them. I worked on my professional development with them. And they have inspired me and motivated me to be the global leader that I am today.
Definitely. That's really good, because from that, you're saying different people inspired you in different ways, but the foundation came from your mom, which is good. And the beauty about what you just said is that being yourself, whether she's around or not, just in case. And that's a beautiful thing, to be, do the right thing even when no one is watching, which is really good. Wow, that's great. So what got you started in the field that you are today, being a leadership coach?
Well, it's interesting because, as I mentioned earlier, one of the things, so let me start, and I'll keep it short. When I started my career in 1982, my motivation for starting this job in an office was to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Beyond that, I didn't have any aspirations, no dreams, no goals. I just wanted a job that allowed me to have the weekends free. And so I went to a company, they hired me, they trained me. And what happened was they saw something in me that I didn't necessarily see in me. And within a year, they asked me to be a team leader. And I was shocked. And so what happened was I realized in order for me to be the best leader I could be, I would need to continually grow and develop, one as a leader and also as an individual person. So what happened was every opportunity I had to go to a training program or coaching, whatever it was that would support me as a leader, I raised my hand and I would go. So the benefit of that was that everything I was learning for myself, I could then share with people that I was working with. So the theme throughout my 35 years was growth and development around being a leader.
Yeah.
So what happened for me was a year ago when I left my corporate position and I decided I wanted to do something different, I knew that this was my purpose. I knew this was the thing and it was the time.
Yeah.
I'm now at a point where I can give it back to others and I can meet them exactly where they are in their career, because in 35 years, as you imagine, I've covered everything. And so for me, it was all throughout the 35 years preparing me to be in this position today.
I can imagine 35 years is a long time.
Because I wear it like a medal, you know, like if I were
you know.
it would have 35 on it.
So you have a wealth of experience there.
Yes.
In terms of leadership and development, and that's a brilliant thing. And what are some of the challenges? I know, you know, it's been 35 years, but sometimes we have those challenges along the way. What were some of the challenges you faced?
Well, during the 35 years, I would say to you that I was very, very fortunate in my career. I knew how to do the best job possible. Here's the thing. When people are working in corporations, there's usually some politics to be played. And when you play the politics, then you can expect that things will happen. And what I learned early on was that I was going to rely on my performance and my result. And I wasn't going to play politics. So I was never somebody who engaged in any of the whatever politics are defined as. Rather, what I did was I did my job, and then I created the results that they were looking for. And that kept promoting me, and it kept progressing my career. So I think for the most part, with the exception of a few redundancies here and there that happened, because that's business and business realigns, and then they say your position is no longer available. And you take those in stride and you figure out where to go next, and you move up and things work out better. So I think there were challenges along the way. What I'd like to say about those challenges is that I met them head on, and then the challenge brought me to an even better place. And so, so nothing that got me down, nothing that interrupted me, nothing
that's really great. And it sounds like, as you said, it was based on what you were focusing on, and that part of performance and result is a positive aspect of, you know, putting your energy. And as you said, the politics can really be, you know, a mess really, and bring because I've been there, so I know what it can be like to be in those environments. So you need to have something that you focus on, which is great. So what was some of the greatest success you've experienced? I'm sure there is a lot.
Well, so I'll give you.
Being here today is where, you know, telling your testimonials are one of them.
So what I'll do is I'll give you two short ones. So the first one is I worked for a company for 18 years. And during the 18 years, I was the only employee out of about maybe 55,000 employees that was Employee of the Month twice.
Wow.
One time as an individual and one time for an entire team. So that was pretty significant out of 55,000 people to be an Employee of the Month twice. So that was pretty significant.
Definitely.
The other one is I'd like to highlight working in China. Working in China can be a challenge on a lot of levels. And what I can tell you is that I was very successful in working with business leaders in China for the business that I was representing, in making sure that we came to successful mutual win-win outcomes. And people who've worked overseas from the US know that it can be challenging in other countries. And I would tell you the reason I was successful with it, and this isn't me patting me on the back, it's having had my coaches brought me to China to understand how to do business in China. Thinking it was a one-time opportunity, and then I ended up going to China for 7 years regularly. So the good news is I had some very successful meetings in China.
Brilliant. That sounds fun to me. Getting there.
It was.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you feel, you know, you are helping people now in your leadership coaching at the moment?
So how do I feel? I will tell you that it's really gratifying. It's really reassuring. A woman reached out to me yesterday, and she's actually been asked to be interviewed by somebody who recently interviewed me. And she said, you're the reason that I'm where I am in my business now. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I really love the opportunity to have an impact on another person's life in a positive way, obviously. And then what's really amazing for me, what's really gratifying for me is that I do a lot of what I do from my heart.
Yeah.
And so it's really about making sure that I'm always doing it from my heart, and then also making sure that people know that it's a business. So for me, this impact that I'm having on people that I'm meeting randomly and supporting, you know, just a little bit here and there with some messages or whatnot.
Yeah.
When they come back and thank me, it makes it all, I mean, it just makes it all so worthwhile. I mean, I know that it's when I was in the corporate positions and I would work with people and I would see them get promoted, you know, I would work with them and coach them and get promoted up through the ranks. And you would see their lives change. You know, they would buy a home, and they would start to have children, and they'd buy a car, and they'd take vacations. So you would see their life changing as a result of these opportunities. And the same thing is true now with these people that I'm meeting in this new arena.
Because I know you shared some amazing story before, and that's really great as well. You know, helping people are great. The results is what makes us keep going, isn't it? Lovely. You know, so, you know, in terms of what you're doing now, you know, we're here about sharing resources to help other people, you know, to move forward with their goals. What are some of the resources you would like to provide to others for inspiring them into their on their entrepreneur journey?
Excellent. So I'm relatively new, as you know, as an entrepreneur. However, this personal and professional development, I've been doing it for pretty much the 35 years, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking you have to stop something from that 35 years.
So what's interesting about it is, in fact, I shared this with somebody this morning. It's really about, I know that there are people that talk about your why, your purpose, and all. It's really about understanding what it is that you're here for. What is your unique set of talents and experiences designed to give back to the world, right? So one of the ways that you can figure that out is, you know, read books that call you. I love to go to the library or the bookstore, because what I do is I just stand in front of the books, and whichever book, I pull it out. I'm like, okay, this is the book I'm supposed to buy. So let things come to you naturally. Let things come to you in an unforced way. And then it's also very inspiring to meditate, go into prayer, go into meditation, allow these answers to come to you. You know, I've written a book, it's called 7 Essential Traits of Leaders, and leaders is an acronym for a leadership model. And somebody asked me recently, they said, did you make that up? And I said, well, it's kind of hard to say because it came to me. So yes, I got it. Did I make it up? No, because I didn't sit down and start to force out the letters, right?
Definitely.
So my point in this is really find where your alignment is and find it in a natural, gentle, loving way. It really is. And so that's what I would suggest to people, because it really is about nurturing yourself.
Definitely. That's a beautiful tip to give to someone, to be honest, because I think sometimes we struggle and think it has to be fancy or something, but it needs to come to us naturally. And there's something about us that tells us that that is it as well, definitely.
Well, and I think you're exactly right, because I will tell you that there is freedom in giving yourself permission to go into the library or the bookstore, go into that area and allow yourself to flow. So do I want to go to the business section? Do I want to go to the psychology section? Just allow yourself, and it's a really neat exercise. So just go to the bookstore, walk in, allow yourself to feel or hear where you're supposed to go to it, stand in front of it, walk up and down, you know, and then when you see a book that the title or the color or the size, whatever it is, trust yourself that that book is meant for you to come out. So you pull it out, go ahead and look at it. Don't second guess yourself. Buy it, take it home, and read it in the style that you read it, because not everybody reads cover to cover.
Definitely, that is true. That is so true. You know, especially nowadays, there is so much ways of learning. We don't have to stick to the old-fashioned way of doing things anymore. Definitely, that is so beautiful. I think that is a really great tip for a lot of people who are struggling with, you know, thinking that things have to be this way, in order for it to happen. Brilliant. I think that's has come into the end of our interview together. So how could listeners get hold of you? Because I'm sure, you know, people would want to get something from your experience of 35 years being in leadership, because that's sometimes a challenging area for a lot of business owners who are starting out. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you. And it's interesting because the more I work with this, the more I understand that while there's an application for leaders and business owners and entrepreneurs, what's really is that also parents are coming to me and saying, I think this model is applicable to parents as well.
Wow.
It's real interesting seeing how it's already organically growing out. So I've made it very easy for people to get a hold of me. It's just my first name, Phil, Phil, at seedandlead.com. So it's just seedandlead.com. I have a website, and it's www.seedandlead.com. And then they can find me on Facebook. They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on Twitter, and they can find me on YouTube.
Brilliant. Yes. So all the social media platforms are here, and we are going to be on posting this on the YouTube channel as well. So
awesome.
People should be able to find you from there to come in to you as well. And I like the fact that you mentioned about parents, because leadership is so important to the parents in the home. I learned that just when my daughter was almost ending the teenage stage. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of early moms would be benefiting.
It's very funny that you say that, because when this came to my attention during this time that I'm launching this business, I thought back on some times, you know, call it 15 or 20 years ago, where I would be teaching leadership development classes, and they would be around communication and how you would communicate with your associates. And I remember one of the women went home, and she came back the next day, because it was a multi-day class, and she said, do you know, I went home and I talked to my son the way you told me to talk to my associates, and he cleaned his room and took out the trash for the first time.
Wow. Yes. I can imagine, you know, because I think, you know, even though you mentioned that the business side is just young for you, I think with your years of experience and you know what you have, it's, I think experience is the greatest asset anyway, and you have that, and I think a lot of people could benefit from what you have to offer, to be honest with you. And I think that's the greatest. I think everything is about experience and the person themselves, really, who are delivering it, about you, the person who is delivering it. So it's such a beautiful, you know, way of sharing you to the world, and I'm really happy to have met you and, you know, being here with you. And I'm, you know, as we discussed, we have more of this stuff to come, and I'm looking forward to it in future. So thank you for coming tonight. And any last word from you?
I just want to say, I do want to say thank you very much. I'm really, really excited that you invited me to do this. And I want people to keep in mind that while this is an electronic situation that we are experiencing, I'm reminded of the opportunity that if you and I are ever sitting in a coffee shop together, sharing a cup of coffee or tea, I'm sure that people will walk by and say, oh, I wonder how long they've been best friends, right?
I know.
That's about. It's all about making sure that we're supporting each other and lifting each other up and being there the best way we can for each other. And I'm just really grateful that you reached out to me. This is an amazing opportunity to get to speak with you. So thank you.
Brilliant. And thank you very much, Phil. And I look forward to connecting again and hear how you're getting on and inspiring people in the world of leadership. So thank you very much. And I speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.